oral questions. Question orale, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Merci beaucoup. Le 1er janvier.
On January 1st, the government increased taxes on government's paychecks. On April 1st, it also planned to increase taxes on gas, heating, and groceries. Now, housing prices have doubled. Grocery prices are at their highest inflation rate in 40 years. Canadians just aren't able to pay. Will the Prime Minister cancel these tax increases on seniors and workers? The Honourable Minister, I'd like to start by congratulating the Honourable Leader of the Opposition on his first question in this role. Throughout this session, you will see two competing visions. Our plan as a government to ensure that everyone pays their income tax, and then the other option, the vision of the Conservative Party and members with a responsible plan to help Canadians where they are when they need it.
Canadien.
The minister says we don't care about Canadians, but who really doesn't care? The price of housing has doubled. Previously, Canadians could pay for housing with 32% of their paycheck, but that's gone up to 50%. Food prices are going up at the highest rate in 40 years. Canadians just can't pay for it, but this government wants to increase taxes on heating, on gas. Will this government do something to help Canadians pay their bills? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about how people will be able to pay their bills. We have increased income tax and we don't care about Canadians. In addition to all the measures in Budget 2022, we've just seen excess profits thanks to our new income tax and will be determined to increase the cost of living. And that's exactly what we will continue to do. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Be vaporized by inflation, which is costing families over $2,000 in extra cost. And that does not include the increased interest rate prices that people are paying on their mortgages. In fact, the average family could pay their housing bill with 32% of their paycheck every month. Now, that's 50% after 7 years of this Prime Minister in power. What's his solution? To raise taxes on paychecks with higher EI and CPP premiums that will shrink paychecks and higher taxes on gas, groceries, and heat. Why won't they cancel these tax hikes so that Canadians can keep a roof over their heads?
The Honourable Minister.
It's important to talk about the fact we understand the high cost of living. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, we raised the EI and CPP. That's thousands of dollars that are important for people who've lost their jobs or for seniors when they're planning for retirement. And because we understand how much families rely on this money to make sure that they can give their children what they need. But let's talk about real solutions, Mr. Speaker. He's been there for families and help them with the high cost of living. That's real solutions, Mr. Speaker, that are making real differences in the lives of Canadians every single day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Can't even afford to have a family in the first place because they can't get out of their parents' basements or out of 400-square-foot apartments after housing prices have literally doubled in this country under this Prime Minister. And now, with rising interest rates, which this government promised would not happen anytime soon, families have to spend 50% of their income just to keep a roof over their head, the highest in over 3 decades. And the solution from the Liberals? Higher taxes on gas, groceries, and paychecks. Will they follow the Conservative demand and cancel all of these tax hikes on workers and seniors?
The Honourable Minister.
We know that it's getting harder for many Canadians to afford the increased rent. That is why we can't take the Leader of the Opposition on these issues, because he's always have the backs of Canadian renters.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
They work to double the price of housing in this country and give us the second worst housing bubble of any country on planet Earth. Now, Canadians have had the cost they must pay for monthly housing bills go from 32% of their paycheck to 50% of their paycheck. And what's the Prime Minister's solution? To reduce their paychecks by taking a bigger bite out of them with higher payroll taxes. And he wants to raise gas taxes, home heating taxes, and indirectly the price of groceries by tripling the carbon tax. Will the government cancel these tax hikes so that Canadians can afford to eat, heat, and house themselves?
The Honourable Minister for Tourism.
Mr. Speaker, over the course of this session, you're going to see two competing visions. One, which shows our government deflect and distract Canadians as they are facing higher inflation, and the Conservatives doing what needs to be done that will help make life more affordable. Let's go through the numbers through the years, and you're going to see our government telling the country that they're on their own. This is targeted to low-income individuals who are probably the ones unable to dip into savings or other things to pay for these increased costs. These are targeted measures to increase inflation. They would have destroyed their own personal finances. That is real money in the pockets of real Canadians. Quite frankly, shameful, irresponsible, and reckless.